Hello viewers, yes, I'm back again, and this time it is the literature paper for my class 10 students, the board specimen, which they have brought out only a few days back. And yes, many of you wanted that I should help you with the in solving the literature one also. So in literature there is a slight change. So what is it? Earlier you had to answer from the three sections A, B and C, Merchant of Venice, and then B the poems and C the prose. So you would be given 9 questions and you had to attempt 5. One from A, one from B, one from C, and after that 2 from the remaining. That means you had to touch all the three sections. It's not that I'll answer 3 from one group, all 3 from one group and 2 from the other. So earlier it was like that, but this time there is a change. What is it? The first question, that means section A, is compulsory, and in section B and C and D, so you will be given 2 questions, 2 reference to context, 2 RTCs, and you will have to attempt 1 from each section. So this one carries, the full marks is 80 and the first one is compulsory, so 16 gone. So now you will be attempting 4 questions reference to context. So yes, 1 question from each of them, that means from B1, C1 and D1, and you have to write 1 more answer. So from any of that means from one group you may attempt 2 and 1 each from, suppose you attempt 2 from the poems, that means C, and 1 from Merchant of Venice and 1 from short stories. So that makes up your 64 marks, and this one, the section A question, is compulsory. That 16 will make your full 80. So many of you had wanted that I should help you to solve. So regarding the reference to context, it's just like you solve your questions in the exams, or there is nothing new in it. For that you can refer to my blog. I'll be coming up with the answers there, because it's not possible to help you with the answers here in this video. I will solve the objective question, the section A1, and I'll give you a small hints regarding the remaining questions. So the first one, what did the little match girl see when she struck the second match, not the first one? So the options are A, a beautiful candle lit Christmas tree. The second one, her grandmother who loved her dearly, bright star shooting across the sky, and D, a stuffed goose waddling towards her. Yeah, the first one was the iron stove and the second one was food. First one she needed warmed the most, so the iron stove, and the second requirement which she very badly needed was the food, and that is why it's the stuffed goose waddling towards her. The second one, what is the caged bird in Maya Angelou's poem Blinded By? A, her narrow cage, B, her rage, C, the sun's orange rays, and D, her fears of the unknown. So her rage. The line here is, but a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. So it should be his rage, because here it is in the poem, the pronoun used is his. Anyway, they have framed the answer, so let's go for the second one, rage, because here it is his bars of rage. And the third one, in the poem that Margaret wrote, All Summer in a Day, she compares the sun to a penny, clock, flower and lemon. So of these options, the correct one is C, flower, because in the poem, in the story it is, I think the sun is a flower that blooms for just 1 hour. So here it is flower. Number 4. Which of the following statements is not true of Sibia? She had long golden hair. She had to work hard from her early years. Yes, ever since she had learned to walk. And at 12 she was a child woman. She was 12 years old. This is also correct. And she had no money to buy glass beads at the bazaar. This is also true. So the first one, of course, she did not have golden hair. So that one is the wrong one. It is not true of Sibia. So option A. Then the 5th one, which of the following lines from the poem 9 Gold Medals tells us that the poem describes an international sporting event? A. The athletes had come from so many countries. Yes, that's the fact. When they are coming from number of countries means it's an international one. So the others, I'll read them, but you know this one is the correct option. And 9 young athletes stood there determined. C. The 8 other athletes stopped in their tracks. And D. To run for the gold, for the silver and bronze. So the first one is the correct option. Then 6th one, Jesse Owens says that Hitler had kept him, that means Luz Long, under wraps. What does the phrase under wraps mean? Wrapped in a blanket, option A. Option B, gift wrapped. Option C, a carefully concealed secret. And option D, beneath a wrapper. Option C is the correct one. Carefully concealed, so that he was not given any exposure, so that the other athletes did not know his potential, to surprise the other athletes in the Olympics. That is why Hitler had kept Luz Long under wraps. So the answer is a carefully concealed secret, option C. And then question number 7. What makes the central character in Browning's poem The Patriot feel sad and bitter? A. The welcome he received. Not at all. The fickle-mindedness of his followers. Getting wet in the rain. The flags on the church spire. So B. The fickle-mindedness. Only a year ago they gave him such a splendid reception. And within a year, he is tried and sent to his gallows to be executed. So this fickle-mindedness of his followers. That means option B. And then the 8th one, Joe Thompson was a, first one, barber, carpenter, gardener, wheelwright. Wheelwright. Joe was a wheelwright. What did Abu Ben Adhem see in his bedroom when he awoke one night? So the options are a fairy writing in a book of gold. No, it was not a fairy. So wrong. An angel sitting on his bed. Equally wrong. A fairy sitting on his bed. Again wrong. And an angel writing in a book of gold. So this one is the correct option. But don't feel very elated that you will get options of this type. Sometimes they are very close. Here though only one is evident that this is the correct answer. But last year when they had got first sem and second sem, in the first it was all the MCQ ones. Everything was MCQ. So they were very close. And you would be thinking which one is the correct answer. So many had lost their marks because of it. What sight fills the poet Wordsworth's heart with joy? This is from Daffodils, obviously. So, a field of daffodils, the stars in the Milky Way, the dancing waves, the lonely cloud. Obviously, the field of daffodils. 11th, that was the 10th one, and now the 11th one. When Shylock speaks of Jessica's elopement, he exclaims, "My own flesh and blood to rebel." What feeling does his words convey? First one, pride, not at all. He is not at all proud of what Jessica has done. Envy, envy is similar to jealousy, no. Betrayal and remorse, it's betrayal. Option C, that my flesh and blood should go against me. He feels betrayed, that his own daughter, his own flesh and blood, his daughter, should do such a thing, run away with the money, and that also with a Christian. So betrayal. Question 12. What rare quality of Bassanio helps him to choose the right casket? His honesty and integrity. Here honesty is ruled out because there is nothing about in choosing the right casket, honesty, there is nothing about honesty here. Second one, his desperate need for money, no. His dislike of gold and silver, no. Last one, his ability to look beyond outward appearance. Shakespeare's theme, outward appearance is often deceptive, and this is what Bassanio says in Act 3 Scene 2. There is a lengthy speech where he rules out, he gives 6 examples and he rules out all of them, saying that outward appearance should not be trusted. Remember the 6 examples. Go through my video on Act 3 Scene 2 and you will find how I have described it, how I have explained it. And now the 13th one. My deeds upon my head, I crave the law, the penalty and forfeit of my bond. Who says these words and to whom? Portia to Antonio? Not at all. Shylock to Portia? Yes. My deeds upon my head. So when she tells him to be merciful and all that, so he says no, my deeds upon my head. Bassanio to Portia, no, and Antonio to Shylock also no. So it's the second option, Shylock to Portia. Question number 14. Which of the following words best describes Antonio's attitude during the trial? So Antonio, I am a diseased sheep. That is how he says, like the rotten fruit falls to the ground first. So he compares himself to the diseased sheep and the rotten fruit. So jealous, option B angry, option C generous, option D resigned. He has as if resigned himself to his fate. Whatever happens, let it happen. And then the 15th one. Why does a quarrel break out between Nerissa and Gratiano in the final act of The Merchant of Venice? Why? Yeah, the ring, obviously. So Gratiano admits that he had given away the ring which Nerissa had given to him. This should be the correct option. Let's see why the others are not. B. Nerissa admits that she had accompanied Portia to Venice disguised as a lawyer's clerk. No, that could not give rise to the quarrel. C. Gratiano is annoyed with Nerissa for giving away his ring. No, Nerissa doesn't give away any ring. And D. Nerissa is angry with Gratiano for leaving for Venice on the very day they were married. Not at all. So it's the first one, which is the correct option. And number 16, the last one of your MCQ. How does Lorenzo recognize Portia even before he sees her when the two young women return from Venice? So it is in Act 5. By the clothes she wears. So if he cannot see only, how can he recognize her by the clothes? By the sound of her voice, by the perfume she uses, by her touch. So C and D are also ruled out because he hasn't seen, he has heard Portia's voice. And Portia says that yes, he identifies me as a blind man, identifies the song of the cuckoo by my bad voice. So by the sound of her voice. So these are the 16 MCQs, and if you score them correctly, you get all full 16 out of 16. So always go through while revising, go through each and every detail so nicely that you are able to score a perfect 16. Don't leave any chance, don't make any mistakes, and that will only be possible if you are very thorough, if you study very thoroughly the first word to the last word. And now the reference to context, section B. So just like in the previous ones, 4 questions of 3 marks each, and the last one is 4 marks. So a very important speech of Shylock, Act 3, Scene 1, when they ask him, Antonio's friends, that if he is unable to pay the money at the right time, I'm sure he will not ask for his pound of flesh. What good is that to you? So he says, I will use it to bait fish withal. So here 3 marks allotted in the first question. Who is he? What does Shylock want from him? And what does Shylock mean by to bait fish withal? So there are 3 subdivisions in question A and 3 marks allotted. So that means 1 marks for each. So you will write each of them in a separate line. Like, who is he? He refers to Antonio. What does Shylock want from him? His pound of flesh, the penalty. And what does Shylock mean by it, to bait fish withal? So with Antonio's flesh, he will use it to bait fish, he will use it to trap or catch fish if it does not serve any other purpose. So 3 subdivisions in the first question and 3 marks, 1 plus 1 plus 1. So 3 separate lines. So whenever there are more than one question or more than one part, you will immediately change the line, write in a separate paragraph the remaining one. So the second one, explain in your own words any 3 ways in which he had wronged Shylock. So write in 3 separate lines how Antonio had wronged Shylock. 3 marks. This is to draw the attention of the examiner towards your answers, that you have written whatever has been asked. And one of my student had asked, ma'am, you don't please help me with the keyword. So like, who is he? Here he refers to Antonio, or underline Antonio. Antonio is the keyword. And then according to Shylock, in what ways did Jews resemble Christians? So you will give 3, at least 3, or you can give 6. Why? Because it might be half marks. Whatever you are doing, write them in separate lines. And then the fourth one, how does Shylock use Christian example to justify his desire for revenge? He tells that when you are wrong, what do? You take revenge. So going by Christian example, shouldn't I take revenge when I feel I have been wronged? So 3 marks, you will explain it. And the last one carries 4 marks. The fifth question. So the given extract reveals 2 distinct emotions that Shylock experiences. What are they? One is anger, and the second is the desire for revenge. One is that he has been discriminated because he is a Jew, and the other is that Antonio has treated him badly. So there is a desire for revenge. So you will deal with it in a paragraph. You can write in 2 paragraphs, because 2 distinct emotions. So you deal with one emotion in one paragraph and the other emotion in another paragraph. So this is how you will be handling your question answers. The second one is the mercy speech of Portia. These are just like the way you have answered your school examination. And then there is one from All Summer in a Day, the same pattern, the prose one, the same pattern. And another one is from The Little Match Girl. Okay, so these, it won't be possible here in this video to talk about all of them. So it is more that it is better that when I'll be writing it in my blog and I will send you the link and you can see it. There you can read it there rather. And in poems, Abu Ben Adhem and 9 gold medals. Okay, so there is nothing new here. It's just the type of questions you find in your workbooks. So you have to solve them. And where you have a difficulty, you can always refer to my blog. I haven't written these answers because I have found them yesterday only. So I will soon write and post it in the community box, the link and when to reach them. Okay, so yes, with this my video comes to an end. Have a happy time and start preparing for your exams from now itself in order to get the best result possible. And yes, don't forget to press the like button, and yes, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I am steadily working towards my 100K and I desperately need your support.